Data doesn't lie, right? Data tells you exactly what's going on in the grid, about the operation, about how customers are responding. So we have the opportunity to strategically inform them about what they need to be thinking about, where the pit holes are, and where the opportunities are. Think about what the utilities are facing right now. So they've got decreased revenue from zero, load growth. They've got a bunch of old infrastructure that they're going to have to make investments on. Customers want something different. They really want to have a more of a choice and more of a say in what they do. And then lastly, you got a whole bunch of new competitors in their retail space. Okay, so you can think about Google or Tesla or Sunverge, some of these major players that are walking into what was traditionally a utility arena, and they're challenging them both in terms of the customers, but more fundamentally, they're challenging the utility business model and how the utility makes money. In addition, across that backdrop, if you start to think what else is happening, utilities are facing some big regulatory changes in their business model. They're now being moved into policies that look at performance, tremendous and rapid growth in DERs. Not only does that create competition for the utilities, now we have consumers generating their own electricity, but the way in which they're entering into the grid means it's changing the capacity that the utilities are seeing, and it has really significant impacts on the operation of the grid. And that poses some very profound changes to the utility structure. And in fact, that's one of the reasons that we can play strategic value, is we can help utilities kind of walk a pathway through all of these very rapid changes that are occurring in the utility landscape. A lot of these type technologies like solar PV generate at times when the utility demand is low. But at the same time, because they're intermittent, it has some significant impacts on utility operation. And then, the other really big change that's occurring with the explosion of IoT and DERs at the same time, the relationship that the utility has with the customers changed. Utility customers aren't happy or satisfied with just being consumers of electricity. Now they want a lot more options with respect to clean energy, and they're thinking about the fact that it's a digital environment, right? And they don't want to be sending in paper to the utilities. They don't want to walk into the customer counter. They want things, in a digital, easy to consume type environment. Customers, at the end of the day, want to have as much control as possible over their own choices, whether that's a clean energy choice or how much hedging they have by what's going to happen with the grid in the future. They really want to have a more of a choice and more of a say in what they do. We're seeing different responses from utilities. Some utilities are looking at this very proactively. Remember, I talked about the fact that the business model for utilities are changing. And so some utilities are looking at this as an opportunity. They're saying, okay, well, our customers want something different. Our role is going to be different. They want to be a trusted advisor. They're going to be able to provide some, information back to the customer on how does it fit your particular need? What are the costs? How does that fit into what your energy bill is? So it's a whole different realm for the utility. So Itron, as a leading provider of AMI, generates tremendous amount of data. And utilities face the prospect of, okay, so what do I do with all of this data? One of the first things out of the box for AMI was, okay, well, now we can help you with revenue and with billing, but there's a larger play. And the really larger play is, okay, this information provides me information about what are the issues that customers are facing, and how can the utilities use that data to figure out what their customers' problems are and what are the opportunities. The challenge that we see is, and the opportunity that we quite literally see, is the fact that we can take and make sense out of that data. We can talk about customer behavior and tie it to the data. We can talk about what role DERs are playing. What are their impacts? The data tells a story, right? And our job is to make that story very compelling to the utilities. So to simplify what the message is through all of that tremendous amount of data that's out there. And that's really what analytics is, and it turns data into stories.